Hi guys, very good evening to you. Welcome to the video number 283. My name is Ajay and I'm going to talk about today how to make the dynamic drop downs. So this is the I got actually an email and from one of my subscribers, and this is what actually he has written, that he appeared for the Excel test, and they it was asked that what are the dynamic drop downs, and and it was also asked that if he can actually show the team that how to make the dynamic drop downs, right? So let us go ahead and let us discuss about this, how to make the dynamic drop downs. So in this channel we have uploaded a lot of videos on Excel and Excel VBA and Access VBA. You just need to go to the playlist. As you can see here, we have got 42 playlists for you, right? So just scroll it down and you see the different categories. Now guys, when you click on these categories, you will have the different the types of the videos here. We have the basic videos. If you are a beginner, you can watch those basic videos. You just need to click on that title. For example, now in this video I'm going to today talk about the indirect function to make the dynamic drop downs, right? So if you know the indirect function, very good. If you do not know the excellent indirect function, then click on this playlist and you get to see here 6 videos, right? So what you need to do is, you can see here dynamic drop down, data validation, rare but strong combination, indirect with VLOOKUP, exercise on the indirect. So a lot of things are actually here, right? Interview question, exercise on indirect function. So please go through these videos also. They're going to tell you actually that how you actually use the indirect function. Okay, so now let's come back to the original topic. Now this is what exactly I have prepared a data for you to give you the understanding. Now what exactly we want to do, we have a category equipment, we have another category electronic, and then I have a electric, and then the wooden, and under these each categories we have the subcategories. So basically the idea is, once you create the drop down here, and let's say in the drop down you choose the wooden, right? So the next drop down should automatically start giving you these entries, tables, plates and sofas, right? And the moment you change this drop down again to, let's say, electronic, right? So when you select the electronic from the drop down, automatically the next drop down should start giving you these numbers, these values, instead of showing the table, plates and the sofas. So this is what exactly I'm going to talk about today. Now the first thing is, we will basically divide this into 3 categories. One is that how to create the drop down, normal drop down. Okay, the second thing which I'm going to tell you is that how to use this with the indirect function. Okay, and the third thing which I'm going to tell you is that how to create the name managers, because that is what exactly we are going to use in these drop downs. Okay, so first of all, let's go ahead and so let me write here category. Let's say this is the header. I'm going to write here the category. Let us give it a color. So I'm going to give it this color, let's say. Okay, and let's give the font a different font, maybe Arial black. Now what I want to do, the first step, how to create the normal drop down. So what you need to do, you just need to simply go to the data. Many of you must be knowing this is a very common option, right? So when you go to this data, you just need to click here the data validation. The shortcut key is Alt DL. You can press Alt DL, right? So this window would come and you select the list from here, and then the next thing which you want to do is, you need to basically select all these items, the categories, right? So I selected this, and as you can see, I have selected them horizontally. So the moment you press OK, you would get to see all these numbers, the categories, right? So this is fine. Now we want that the next drop down which we are going to create here. Okay, so the next drop down is subcategory, let's say, or I can say the items. Okay, let me just give the same color and the font. So I go to the format option. Okay, now, and by the way, this is the shortcut key I was talking about to insert the data validation, if you don't have any idea, right? Now here also we need to create the drop down. Now the point is, you can create the drop down here, but how you are going to link that drop down with this value, that's actually the main thing we want to learn today. Okay, so now for example, if I simply go ahead and press Alt DL, or maybe you go to the data and the data validation, that's one and the same thing, and you go to the list and in the source you write here all these numbers, let's say. I select all these values, I press OK. So I press OK, and this is what exactly it says. The list source must be a delimit list. So basically the point is that these all values can't come in one way. In simple, you can't actually select all these multiple items like this. So what if I, let's say, select these items? Now when you press OK, obviously we will have a drop down, but this drop down only applies to the equipment. So that is the problem with us, right? So if, as long as this equipment is selected, this drop down looks very nice. This really goes with this, right? But the point is, if somebody changes here electronic, this is not going to change itself, and that is what exactly we would like to do it, right? So to do this, what you need to do is you need to actually create the name managers. So basically this is the step number 1, and this is the step number 2, and this is going to be the step number 3. Okay, so what are the name managers? Now name managers, name ranges means you can define the tables. I have talked about this in many of my videos, especially in the advanced level videos, right? So what we can do is, now understand what we actually going to do is, I'm going to select all these cells one by one. Okay, tables basically. So once you select this table, you can go here and you can type in the name, which is equipment, right? So I'm going to type in here the equipment, and please ensure that the spelling should be same. Okay, the moment you write equipment, press enter. Now once you click again, click back on this, you see that this is actually generated here. This is awesome. When you click on this, you would see that it's actually picking up this table, right? There is another way of doing it, guys. What is the another way of doing it? You can also click on the formula, okay, and you click on this name manager, right? Control F3 is the shortcut key, as you can see in the window also it's coming, right? So when you click on the name manager, this equipment is already coming because you created it using the name box, right? When I click here, you see that it refers to what. So this is the best way to check whether the values are coming correct or not, right? Now we want another, so I can click on the new. Once you click on the new, you can give it a name. So the name I want to give is electronic, and please ensure that the spelling should be same, otherwise you will not be able to create this magic. So I'm going to write here electronic. Okay, once you create the electronic, this refers to what? So just backspace it, remove everything, and we are going to select this. Now once you have selected, you need to press OK, and electronic is also created. Just ensure that it is picking up the right data. So I click here, and these cells are getting highlighted, which shows that my range is coming correct. Similarly, again you go to the new, and here again you can write here electric. So this is a case insensitive, so you can write it in whatever way, but the spellings are supposed to be correct. So this electric actually refers to what? This electric is going to refer to this range, right? So I just press D2 to D3, press OK. Let us go ahead and create the another one. So I'm simply going to write the the wooden. Once you created the wooden, we would like to select this table, right? If you want to give extra buffer, that's your choice, right? But I'm going to just give these many cells. Okay, now once you created every range, you just need to close it. So now ideally what happens in the background when you write equals to, right? So equals to, if you start writing electric, you see that electronic. So now these are not the strings, these are not normal text, guys. For example, normally when you write equals to, let's say I write something, maybe Ajay, my name, this is not really has any relevance in the Excel. It is simply a text, right? If I press enter, I will get the error, right? But the point is, when you write this equipment, you see what happens. Actually now this is not text, this is a table, proper table, name manager we have created. So Excel will start showing you this, right? And then you can also see the electronic, electric, and then the wooden. So all these actually the name managers are created. Okay, so now what we need to do is there is a formula in the Excel which is called the indirect function, right? Now as I said that if you don't have any idea about the indirect function, please go and check out those videos on the indirect. I have explained the indirect function. It's one of the very powerful function in the Excel, and it can do really wonders. As I was showing you also, there are a couple of videos on the indirect exercise, so they are all very useful videos for you. You must watch them, right? So now in this case, what we are going to do, I'm going to simply do one thing. Now instead of we will go to the data validation again, right? I selected this subcategory, and now here what you need to do is, instead of selecting any specific range, you write the formula here called indirect and start the bracket. Now you need to select this cell indirect H3 and close the bracket, and that's it. Now what does that mean? Now first of all, let me tell you, indirect H3 means that it will go in the H3 and it will see that what value, what cell address is there. Now you know that electronic is not a text at all, right? Electronic is a range which refers to C2 to C6. So ultimately what will happen, because it is it is an indirect function, it will go in the H3, and in the H3 it will find out that this electronic actually refers to which table, and automatically in the form of the drop down, because you're writing this in the data validation in the list over here, it will form the drop down, right? So if I press OK, now what will happen, the moment I click here, you see that I get to see machine, refrigerator, cooler, and music player, everything, right? So that's perfect. Now I come back here and I change the list. So let's say I'm gonna click on the equipment. Once you click on the equipment, let's click here. Look at this, guys, this is really amazing. So this is what I was talking about. Now what happens in the background, where you have applied the formula, you see it is indirect H3. So in the H3, whatever would come, indirect will go and find out the table which you have created using the name manager. So right now it is going in the H3. In the H3, indirect finds that the equipment is written, and the equipment actually refers to what? You know that equipment refers to what? If you click on this name box and you select here, you see that this is getting highlighted. So ultimately in the form of the drop down, that drop down is coming, these values are coming there, right? So if I click here and I say that it has to be wooden, and then again I click here, you got to see that tables, plates, and sofas are coming. Okay, so why it is coming? Because that indirect will go in the H3, and in the H3 it will again see that what we have written. So we have written the wooden, and that the wooden actually refers to what? If I select the wooden here, wooden refers to this table which is highlighted. Or maybe you can go to the formula and you can click on the name manager, and from here also, once I select this wooden and I click here, it is going to show me this. Okay, so this is how you can make the these the drop downs very dynamic, right? So that's the answer to your question, right? And now I want to tell you one more thing which is very important. If you know the dynamic drop downs, very nice, but maybe the option which I'm going to share it with you right now, maybe you are not aware of it. So let's go ahead and let's discuss this. Let me first give the formatting. Now guys, what happens, I remember in one of my trainings, live trainings which I gave, I was asked this question, and it was actually a very good question. The question was, now for example, you have just seen that we have created all these name managers, electric, electronic, equipment, and wooden, but just imagine if you have a list of 50 categories, then creating 50 categories is really going to take a lot of time, isn't it? Right? So now let me first of all quickly, what I'm actually telling you, let me quickly go ahead and delete all these name managers. So see this, I'm going to actually remove this, right? No worries, we can create it back. I'm going to tell you the shortcut key for that, right? So right now I'm just deleting them. Now these are going to be treated as text only, right? So obviously when you click back here, what happens, this drop down is not working. I'm trying to click here, guys, it's not working at all, right? Why? Because now the wooden is nowhere. If I write the wooden, you see that it will not come, because you have deleted those name managers. So wooden is simply nothing but a text, right? So now what I want to tell you is that let's assume you have here 50 headers like this, right? So 50 headers will not go ahead and manually create. So there's a beautiful way of it. What you need to do is you keep your headers on the top. Obviously headers are always on the top, but if you don't have, then please arrange that, right? If you have the data in the zigzag order, just ensure that you should have all the categories on the top, and then subcategories coming below that. So what you need to do is you select the entire table like this. Okay, then instead of going for the individual category, we need to click on this formula and then create from selection. The moment, and Control Shift F3 is the shortcut key. When you click on that, you get to see this window. top row, left column, bottom row, right column. So we need to create the names from the values in the top row. So I'm just going to click on this top row, right? And I can uncheck this and let me press OK. The moment I press OK, before I do that, I want to show you one thing. If you click here, you see that nothing would come, right? Because we have deleted all the name managers, right? So now click back on the create from selection, and I just keep this top row on, and I'm going to click OK. Now once I've clicked OK, let us see. I click back here, and there we go, guys. You see that it has created all the name managers keeping the top row, right? So it is so powerful. This Excel is so powerful that the moment you click on the top row, it is going to create everything for you by using the top row. So when you click on the electric, you see you have your perfect table. Now it is a blank, it really doesn't matter, right? Because we selected the entire table from here and here, right? But blanks are really not going to create any problem. So similarly, if you select the wooden, you have the wooden. If you select the electric, you have the electric. If you select anything, right? So you have everything. So if you have such 50 categories, 100 categories, don't actually use the manually, you don't create every range name manager manually. And rest of the things you already know. What you need to do is you just need to go to this data validation, and you need to create here indirect H3, which is already created. And this time, because now they are created, you can see that if I press equals to equipment, they would come, right? If I write wooden, that would come. So because we have created them, and now if I click here, it should work, and as expected, it is working. So in this way, guys, you can actually create these dynamic drop downs, right? So this is all about the dynamic drop downs, and this is all about how to use this create from selection. I request you, if you are watching the channel for the first time, then please enjoy all those amazing videos, 280 videos, and do subscribe to the channel, and I will be back very soon. Thank you so much, guys.